Hey, this is Rick and welcome back to another DIY do-it-yourself project. This is going to be on another aquarium divider. This is going to be a different design than the first one I did that was the PVC, because some of the directions I might not show on this video might be on the other video, and I'll put a link to that video up there at the top. So from time to time when I do projects, I try to find something that is economically better for the hobbyists, especially when it comes to the aquarium fish hobby. And I try to find things that are in like the local stores that are fairly cheap or online, so we could try to save ourselves some money. No offense to the manufacturers out there that already manufacture this stuff, but sometimes I can't afford it, and I know there's other people out there that can't afford it, so we try to do something that's more feasible in the DIY realm. So you can get these either on eBay or Amazon. I'll link up there at the top where you can find these. And I got these for about, I think it was under $6. I know, kind of weird, right? When you have 5 of them in a pack, usually they're in pairs, but that's what they came in, and that's what we're going to use. So I don't know if you can see that right there. These are suction cups that people like to use on dividers for your aquarium. You've seen these around, so I'm going to show you what to put in there that's feasible and sturdy, depending on what type you go with. They just have little suction cups there, and what's going to happen is, let's say this right here is the side of your tank. That's going to go in there like that, right up against the glass like that, kind of like it's sticking right there. And then you would have a divider coming off of that that goes right inside there, just a centerpiece. What we're going to do now is we're going to figure out what we're going to put in between them. What I have here is just a regular piece of poster material. You get it at the dollar store, the $1 store, not the dollar store that has a bunch of other more expensive things. This is actually the true dollar store. And it's called foam whiteboard, made out of like a styrofoam, but it's pretty heavy duty. Since it's so cheap and it's only $1, it's going to be nice to make a template out of this for your aquarium, because these are the measurements I'm going to need. I'm going to need 11 3/4, which is my width this way, by 19 1/8, which is my length this way. That's going to slip right in the center of my aquarium. Like I said, if you need to know how to do those measurements, check out that other video. So you need something like a straight edge, and you're going to want to put it on there like that. You're going to need a rule or a tape measure. And like I said, it's going to be 11 3/4 wide. I'm going to take advantage of this straight side that runs down here that hasn't been damaged in any way. And I'm just going to measure up my 11 3/4. So we'll do that now, right to there. And we're going to need 19 1/8. So I would put my square right up against it like that. Run down that edge. Pick up these carpenter squares. They're not too expensive. We're square on the bottom there. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a mark like that. So that should give us our 11 3/4, which it does, right on the mark. So measure on that line out to 19 1/8. And that's right there. Once again, you're going to take your square, spin it around, right on your line, and draw a mark. Now that you get that mark all set up, go ahead and take your razor blade that you're going to use. You can punch right through this thin material and hold your square right on there, and that should give you a nice cut. Do the same in this direction, right on your line. That way you know if you move the square, you're right on it. Take your razor blade, find that line, go right on down. Alright, so if I did that right, it came right out. And you can take off little edges if you want to, but it's pretty clean. Nice cut. So now you can see how this is shaping up. So that's going to be my template for this, because we're going to go in another direction. Now I got this other stuff. This is from Lowe's, and it kind of looks like cardboard, if you can see that. It's got little corrugated edges right here. But this is made out of plastic, so that's going to hold up. This is going to run you about $7. And it's 2 by 3. So that's 2 foot by 3 foot. And they call it white corrugated. So this was actually in the sign section at my big box store. They do make a bigger piece. If you got a couple more tanks, you might want to get it. That's, I think, $10, and it's like I think it's a 3 foot by 6 foot sheet. But this is all I need right now to do this divider. So like I said, when you use this as a template, try it in your aquarium. You can see it's wet. That works out great. Rather than sacrifice this, make a wrong cut on this, and then you're out. You've cut too much or something, you don't have enough. This $1 template is going to work out great for you. If you're really confident in your measurements and your tank is completely square on the inside, which a lot of times because of the pressure of the water may push them out, I would go this route. That way you're not going to waste your chloroplast, I guess they call it. Lay your template up there and then mark it out. And if you have a nice carpenter square like this, You can lay it down on your cut and run your razor knife right down the side there. Or you could use some heavy duty scissors like the industrial Fiskars I have, or some shears. It's up to you. But this is pretty thin stuff. It's enough that you can cut through it with a razor blade. And make sure when you make your measurements, it's not much, but just account for this going up against the glass. There's a little difference here. I'd say 1/8 of an inch, maybe take a 1/4 inch off your overall measurement and it'll work out fine. Take your razor blade, make sure that that's nice and tight to the surface there. You're gonna run your knife down there and go right on down the end. And run it through again. All right, now put your square up there and we're gonna go the other way now. Hold it nice and tight. My hands don't work like they used to. I gotta put some pressure on here so it doesn't slide. And then just run it right on down there, just like you did the other side. Okay, so we did that right. It's gonna pop right out of there. And there it goes. Okay, so now you're starting to see this is shaping up. This is gonna be our divider. We're gonna go ahead and put a series of holes in here so that the water will pass through. And now you can see these are gonna go right on the edge there, like that. And that'll go right to the surface of our aquarium on both sides. So now we have these. Depending on how large your fish are, determines your holes. Go as large as you can for your fish. That way the flow from the filter, if it's coming from the other side or this side, will be able to pass through these holes. You don't want anything restricting that flow. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out my holes that I need, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now you can see my layout. I did a checkered pattern about 2 inches roughly on center, and I punched some holes in with a center punch. I don't believe those holes are going to be big enough for pass through, so I'm going to go ahead and use a bigger bit or a hole saw. So I'm going to go ahead and drill them and we'll come back. Alright, so there we go. You can see now that I've made a hole pattern out of here, and that was with a 3/4 inch hole saw. It looks like that. Yours might not be that big. I have larger fish and I know they're not going to get through there, and it still didn't take away the stiffness of the board material. Now what you want to do though is, because this is plastic and you drill through there, maybe a little jagged areas to take some sand cloth or a sanding block, something like this, and you want to just take that rough edge down, because if it's rough to your finger, it's going to be rough to your fish. You don't want to do that. You don't want your prize winning fish to get hurt on something like a divider. So we'll go through and we'll touch all these up, we'll put it together. Okay, so now we have our divider up. I would suggest take like one side of the suctions off of the divider. That way you can slide it into place. Got to move her out of the way. I have the other divider in there, the one that I made in the previous video. Like I said, check that out. So we get this where we want it and we lock it in right there. Now take your other suction cups that you have and just put them on the edge of your divider. The way these are made, they taper in a little bit, so you may have to spread them out with your fingers. My fingers aren't working right this morning. There you go. And slide that right on down to the bottom there. We'll put the top one on. Now the thing with these suction cups, you want to make sure that you push them on nice and tight. That way they don't dislodge. And then with suction cups, over time, they may start to fail. You can pick them up really cheap again. You want the whole assembly, or you can buy just little black suction cups that go in there. We'll go ahead and stick them on there nice and tight. I'm going to block the camera a minute here while I push these on. Okay, so there you go. It's locked in place there. You can see it's nice and tight. Not going to go anywhere. If you get any big fish, they're probably not going to be able to knock through that. The holes are large enough where the water from the filter is going to pass right through, and that's going to be nice and stiff. With those suction cups, I think they were under $5 for 5 of them, like $1 a piece, shipped right to your door. And I think this was around $6, so $11. I have one suction thing left over. You can use those if they start to fail. Just keep an eye on it, push it, make sure it's locked in there nice and tight. I think that's going to hold up nice. So that's it. That's that build. That's the Type 2. Check out the Type 1. That's also on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. The subscribe button should be down here in the bottom here, like right here in the corner. Hit that subscribe button. You never know what I'm going to come up with next. It could be DIY, it could be reviews, whatever. I cover everything on my channel. So share with your friends. Take care.